In a sunlit village nestled amidst rolling hills and vibrant landscapes, life moved at a slower, more deliberate pace. The air was filled with the sounds of nature, the laughter of children, and the gentle murmur of daily life. Ada, a young woman with eyes that sparkled like the morning dew, was as beautiful as a hibiscus in full bloom. Her radiant smile could light up the darkest corners of the village. Her laughter was like a melody, an infectious sound that captivated all who heard it, drawing them into her orbit of joy and youthful exuberance. It echoed through the village, a constant reminder of her vibrant spirit. But Ada harbored a restless spirit, a yearning for something more than the quiet life of her village. She was drawn to the city's dazzling lights and the promise of excitement that pulsed within its bustling streets. As the allure of the city grew stronger, Ada began to dismiss her parents' lessons, the wisdom passed down through generations, the values that had shaped her community for centuries. She saw their teachings about honor, community, and responsibility as relics of the past, outdated concepts that held no relevance in the modern world she craved. "Life is for living," she'd confidently declare, her voice ringing with youthful defiance, a rejection of the constraints she felt were holding her back. She began chasing fleeting moments of pleasure, drawn to the allure of parties, the intoxicating energy of the nightlife, and the fleeting admiration of those around her. Ada was convinced that true freedom meant escaping the perceived burdens of duty and tradition, shedding the responsibilities that tied her to her village and her family. Her parents watched with quiet sorrow, their hearts heavy with concern as they witnessed their daughter drifting further away from the values they held dear. They offered gentle guidance, sharing their wisdom and experiences, but their words seemed to fall on deaf ears, lost in the noise of Ada's youthful rebellion. Ada, blinded by the allure of the city, ignored their pleas, dismissing their concerns as outdated and irrelevant. She surrounded herself with friends who shared her thirst for pleasure, individuals who valued fleeting moments of excitement over lasting purpose and genuine connection. Ada wholeheartedly believed that happiness was to be found in the acquisition of luxury goods and the fleeting validation of attention from others, a dangerous path paved with superficiality. She was blinded by the present, not realizing that every choice, every action, however small, shapes the future, weaving the tapestry of her life with threads of consequence. Her parents, with unwavering faith, prayed that she would eventually find her way back to her roots, back to the values that had always been the bedrock of their family. But Ada was intoxicated by the illusion of endless pleasure, caught in a whirlwind of fleeting excitement that masked the emptiness that was slowly growing within her. She soared high on the wings of youthful ambition, believing herself invincible, untouchable. But she was tragically unaware that her wings were fragile, delicate, and ultimately borrowed, unable to sustain her flight indefinitely. This serves as a warning, a cautionary tale whispered on the wind. True freedom is not the absence of responsibility, a reckless abandonment of duty. Instead, it is the strength to choose what is right, even when it is difficult, even when it requires sacrifice, even when the path ahead is uncertain. Ada's journey, a path fraught with peril and promise, began with turning away from these invaluable gifts, the wisdom, love, and support of her family and community. It was a choice that would inevitably lead to pain, to loss, to moments of profound despair, but ultimately, it was also a choice that held the potential for redemption, for growth, and for the rediscovery of her true self. Ada's reckless life, a whirlwind of impulsive decisions and fleeting pleasures, eventually caught up with her. The consequences of her actions began to manifest in ways she never anticipated. She had been living without a thought for the future, but the future, as it always does, arrived nonetheless. She discovered she was pregnant, a life-altering revelation that turned her world upside down. The news hit her like a tidal wave, washing away the carefree existence she had known, and what should have been a blessing, a joyous occasion filled with anticipation and hope, instead felt like a curse, a heavy burden she was ill-equipped to bear. The weight of responsibility pressed down on her, suffocating her with fear and uncertainty. Her so-called friends, the companions of her carefree days, vanished like shadows in the night, unable or unwilling to offer support during this challenging time. The father of the child, a fleeting presence in her life, disappeared without a trace, leaving Ada to face the daunting prospect of motherhood alone. He offered no support, no comfort, just an empty space where a partner should have been. And Ada was left alone, adrift in a sea of uncertainty, with no anchor to hold on to and no guiding star to show her the way. The isolation was crushing, the silence deafening. She was terrified of motherhood, overwhelmed by the enormity of the task ahead, and crippled by self-doubt. The thought of caring for a child filled her with dread, not joy, seeing her baby not as a precious gift, but as a chain, a shackle that would bind her to a life she didn't want. She couldn't see the potential for love and happiness, only the limitations and sacrifices. She tragically convinced herself that her son would be better off without her, believing that she was incapable of providing the love and care he deserved. This was a desperate rationalization, born of fear and despair. One fateful night, driven by desperation and a misguided sense of selflessness, Ada made a heart-wrenching decision. She left her newborn son in a slum, hoping someone else would find him and give him a better life. She was unable to face the overwhelming responsibility of motherhood, unable to reconcile her dreams with the reality of her situation. She walked away, believing she was escaping to freedom, shedding the weight of her burdens, and reclaiming her life. But freedom is not found in abandoning those who depend on us. But instead of finding freedom, she built a prison of regret, a self-imposed confinement haunted by the memory of her abandoned child. The walls of this prison were made of guilt and remorse, and the bars were forged from the pain of her decision. This act of abandonment serves as a painful lesson, a stark reminder of the profound consequences of our choices. A child is not a mistake, an inconvenience or a burden, but a sacred trust, a precious life entrusted to our care. Ada's choice, born of fear and desperation, a moment of profound weakness, would echo through both their lives, shaping their destinies in ways she could never have imagined. The ripples of her decision would spread far and wide, impacting not only herself and her son, but also future generations. Our responsibilities as parents are not burdens to be shunned, but opportunities to love, to nurture, and to grow alongside our children, enriching our lives in ways we never thought possible. The void Ada left in her son's life was more than physical, more than just an empty space in his home. It was a deep emotional wound, a gaping hole in his heart that would affect his ability to trust and to love for years to come. A wound that would take a lifetime to heal, if it ever truly healed at all. The scars of abandonment can run deep, leaving lasting marks on the soul. The consequences of rejecting the parent-child bond are profound and far-reaching, impacting not only the individuals involved, but also the fabric of society as a whole. Ada's story serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us that running from our responsibilities, shirking our duties, leads only to emptiness, to a life devoid of meaning and purpose. The pain of abandonment lingers far longer than the moment itself, casting a long shadow over the lives of both the abandoned and the abandoner. It's a pain that can echo through generations, a constant reminder of what was lost and what could have been. As the first light of dawn paints the sky, casting a golden hue over the African landscape, a new day begins. The sun rises, chasing away the shadows and bringing with it the promise of new beginnings, even in the most challenging of circumstances. Ifeoma, a woman with a heart as vast as the African sky, carried a silent sorrow. Her deepest desire, to cradle a child of her own, remained unfulfilled, leaving an ache in her heart and a longing in her eyes. She yearned for the laughter and warmth a child would bring to her home. One fateful morning, a soft whimper broke the stillness. Ifeoma opened her door to find a tiny abandoned baby nestled on her doorstep, a silent plea for help in his innocent eyes. She and her husband Emeka gazed upon the child, their hearts overflowing with compassion. They saw not an unwanted burden, but a precious miracle, a divine intervention that had arrived at their doorstep. This unexpected arrival felt like a long-awaited answer to their heartfelt prayers, a sign that their dreams of parenthood were finally within reach. They knew in that instant that their lives were about to change forever. With love and reverence, they named him Chik, a name that echoed their faith and gratitude, meaning God's power. It was a testament to the strength they believed this child possessed. Without hesitation, they made the profound decision to raise him as their own, to shower him with the love and care they had longed to give. Their home, once filled with longing, was now filled with hope. Whispers and judgmental stares followed them. Despite the gossip and cautionary words from neighbors who questioned their decision, Ifeoma and Emeka's unwavering love acted as a shield, protecting Chik from the potential cruelty and prejudice of the outside world. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day. They understood that what truly mattered was not blood relation, but the depth of their affection and commitment. They gave him what mattered most, unconditional love. A love that knew no bounds and accepted him completely. They provided a safe home, a sanctuary where he could grow and thrive without fear. More than anything, they instilled in him the belief that he was destined for greatness, that he had the potential to achieve anything he set his mind to. They taught him the importance of kindness, the value of honesty, and the rewards of hard work, shaping him into a compassionate and responsible young man. This story beautifully illustrates that family is not defined by blood, but built on the solid foundation of unwavering love and unwavering commitment. It's a testament to the power of choice, proving that family is about the connections we forge, not just the genes we inherit. Ifeoma and Emeka's actions served as a powerful example, demonstrating that true parenting is about consistently showing up, nurturing a child's dreams, and fiercely protecting their spirit from harm. They took what began as a story of abandonment, a narrative filled with uncertainty and despair, and transformed it into a powerful testament of hope, a beacon of light in a world that often feels dark. Their boundless love had the power to heal deep wounds, to mend the broken pieces of a young life. And in doing so, they gave Chik not just a home, but a future filled with endless possibilities. It's a reminder of the profound power of compassion, the ability to see beyond circumstances and offer a helping hand. It shows us that even the saddest stories can be rewritten with love, kindness, and a willingness to open our hearts. Ultimately, family is a choice, a conscious decision to embrace and support one another through thick and thin. And it is love, in its purest and most unconditional form, that transforms a house into a home and makes a family truly real. Chik's new life, filled with love and promise, began not with abandonment but with the simple act of being chosen to be loved, cherished, and given the chance to thrive. Chik grew up loved, but the shadows of his past lingered. Other children called him the boy from nowhere, and whispers about his origins stung deeply. Ifeoma and Emeka met his pain with honesty and affection, telling him he was a gift, not a burden. They taught him that worth comes from character, not beginnings. Fueled by their love, Chik poured himself into his studies, determined to honor his adoptive parents. Education became his path to a brighter future. While others played, he worked hard, forging resilience from adversity. His parents' encouragement turned wounds into strengths. Chik's story shows that with love and support, even the deepest scars can become sources of strength. Parents must equip children to face hardship, not just shield them from it. A child's resilience is built on a foundation of unwavering love. While Chik built his future, Ada lived the life she dreamed of: luxury, travel, and admiration. She was kept by a wealthy man, surrounded by opulence but treated as a possession, not a partner. The thrill of riches faded, leaving her empty and isolated. Memories of the child she abandoned haunted her, surfacing in quiet moments. She drowned her regret in parties and shopping, but the emptiness persisted. Ada realized she had traded freedom for a gilded cage. Her pursuit of pleasure left her more trapped than ever. Ada's illusion of security shattered when her benefactor lost everything. Cast out and penniless, Ada was abandoned by friends and left to face poverty alone. She sold her last possessions, her health declined, and her beauty faded. Homeless and desperate, Ada was haunted by regret. Her parents' wisdom, her lost child, her squandered chances. She realized she had thrown away the only things that mattered: family, love, and responsibility. Ada's suffering was the direct result of her choices. Her story is a sobering lesson. True security comes from character, not possessions. Parents must teach self-reliance and humility, not just the pursuit of success. A life without a moral compass loses its way. Ada's fall was the price of rejecting responsibility. The emptiness she faced was the sum of all she had abandoned. The consequences of selfishness are inescapable. At her lowest, Ada stood on a bridge, ready to end her pain. As she prepared to jump, a young man rushed to her side, pleading with her to stop. He gently pulled her back, offering comfort and safety. Ada, broken and exhausted, collapsed into his arms. The stranger was Cheek, now a successful doctor, shaped by the compassion of his adoptive parents. He saw not a beggar, but a person in pain, and took her to safety. This moment was fate's intervention. The son Ada abandoned had unknowingly saved her life. The love poured into Cheek had created a man of empathy and action. Their lives, separated for years, were about to be woven together again. The ripple effects of our actions can return in unexpected ways. Compassion can bridge even the deepest divides. Sometimes the life we save is our own. Cheek brought Ada to a shelter, ensuring she was cared for. Over days she shared her story, her regrets, her shame, and the son she had abandoned. As she described the night and the cloth, Cheek realized the truth. He was her son. The revelation was overwhelming, painful, miraculous, and raw. Mother and child, separated by choices, were reunited. Their reunion was not simple joy, but a storm of emotions: shame, anger, sadness, and hope. Ada was consumed by guilt. Cheek faced the source of his deepest wound. The truth long buried had come to light. This moment teaches. Our actions echo through time, and the truth will always surface. Healing begins with honesty, no matter how painful. Redemption is possible, but it comes at a cost. The past cannot be changed, but the future can be rewritten. In the days after, Cheek wrestled with anger and compassion. He remembered his parents' lessons. Forgiveness frees the soul. Ada, humbled and remorseful, expected nothing. Her only wish was for Cheek's happiness. She saw that Ifeoma and Emeka were his true parents, the ones who nurtured him. Cheek chose love over bitterness, forgiving Ada not to erase the past but to heal himself. He offered her a place in his life, not to replace his parents, but to build something new. Ada dedicated herself to making amends, volunteering at an orphanage, and finding purpose in service. Cheek, freed from resentment, embraced a future unburdened by pain. Their story became a lesson for the community. A parent's choices have lifelong impact, but it's never too late to make things right. The strongest families are those who heal together. Forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves as much as others. Redemption is possible, even after great mistakes. Love in the end is what saves us all.